So this is the Good Ride review of the K287. I have a 155, and we rode the 87 a few years ago when it was flat to rocker. Now it's got camber underfoot and you know, a little bit of rocker in the nose and tail. It's not a lot of camber, but I feel it is a slight improvement. And when we rode that day, I think Peter was man-straighting. His knee hurt. I didn't feed him. My fault. And well, I had an okay perception of it. I thought it was good. Just it really didn't sway me one way or the other, or inspire me to have a lot to talk about. But it was a good board. It wasn't horrible. Peter hated it and thought it was like one number off of being what it should be, 86th. And this board, you know, I rode with the Union Atlases and my trusty tactical ADVs, and I felt like massive change in terms of how things work. We had, you know, pretty decent spring conditions, but nothing great, but enough to make some good turns and to have some fun. It was freshly waxed, and a big thank you to the guys at Gravity Sports at Mount Bachelor for letting me get on this. They always let me get on anything I want, so much appreciated. And you know, it feels like just like a normal board, just medium-ish, not much going on with weight. You know, like I just flexed it before, but you know, it's got a medium-ish, maybe bordering on medium stiff flex, but this is a demo that's been ridden a lot. So maybe it would start out a little more medium stiff and then kind of move to medium. But you know, there's decent pop, especially like little ollies off the tail. It was, you know, nothing to write home about. It's not like a full camber springy pop, but it's got that hybrid camber pop that's just like a little bit more than flat, you know, and not as much as full camber, but very good, very compromisey pop to it. And butterability, it was very easy to butter off the tail and the nose. I had no problem with that. The on snow feel, it's definitely a surfy, off the tail kind of board, but it's forgiving too. The tip and tail are very easy, like are lifted. You know, there's that early rise on both sides of the camber, and it's very easy to skid your turns, to get out of control, wash out, and you know, keep going. It's got a forgiving ride, especially since I've been riding these mostly camber or almost full camber rides the last few days. It was really nice to get back on something that's super forgiving. It doesn't have the drive and spring out of the turns like a lot of you know, mostly camber, directional camber, or full camber boards, but it really was fun. And I feel like it's definitely surfy, and if you drive too far forward off the front foot on a hard turn, it will get a little washy. You gotta dial it back, you gotta bring it back off the back foot, but it makes really good, fun, kind of surfy, free-ridey turns. And you can see it's got kind of a fun shape and some good width to it. So it's got a nice stable platform underfoot, even for a 55. I think I'd like the 60, I believe, better, or the next size up, whatever that is. I think it'd be a little more bored, a little more fun to ride for my specs, and you can see them down below. You know, the edge holds pretty good, nothing great. I think it kind of cuts off at medium, bordering on hard snow. Like, this is like probably like a 3.5 out of 5. You know, maybe a 3.5, where it's gonna do good in like most conditions. Like today I was just riding out in fun, soft spring snow, so no big deal there. But what little hard patches I found, it was holding, but they weren't super hard patches. I would think like midwinter snow meant to ice that I'd put this away and get something else. You know, for turn initiation, it's pretty fast. I'd say it's like medium fast. It's got a wider platform, but that taper and you know, just maybe the way the side cut's set up, maybe something else, but it's got a very fun, turny, quick turny feel. I'd have no problem on this, or even the 160, I don't know for sure, in the trees. Just, I have no problem weaving in and out of trees. It's not the fastest board I've ever tried, but it's pretty fast. And then when it comes to like, you know, carving, it really was fun to lay out a pretty hard turn, and I liked it better than the old 87. It's still not like a mind-blowing carver, but it definitely has a nice combination between being a board that you can ride in powder, make good turns on, and then when you want to lay out a hard carving turn, it's going to be kind of fun and rewarding. Overall, the turning experience is very fun, and I think it's a good board for people who just like to ride the mountain in good conditions and make good turns. I think it's going to be, you know, it does kind of every turn well, but it definitely favors a more laid back, more off the back foot, more surfy style. And if you like that kind of riding, then you're going to have a lot of fun on this. Now for speed, you know, it's kind of the end of the year. I'm old and broken. I'm not really pushing it these days, but what little, you know, acceleration I took, you know, down through a, you know, accelerating down a, you know, a medium slope to try to get to the bottom and get through a flat section. I felt it did good. It was a little chattery, but it's not terrible. When we rode the old 87, that was one of our biggest complaints with Peter and with me. Peter's knee was hurting, so the chatter on that was just going right up into his knee and just made him hate the board. For me, I did feel like it was missing something there. I am riding with Adidas Tactical ADVs right now, and pretty shock absorbent Union Atlases, but I still felt, you know, this did a good job absorbing shock and you know, just kind of mid-level. And I think in uneven terrain, it would do a great job kind of, you know, weaving in and out of moguls, especially the 55. The 60 might get a little sluggish for my feet, but I wouldn't shy away from a mogul run. It wouldn't be ideal. And bouncing through, like, you know, tracked powder and stuff like that, and uneven snow, little uneven snow bumps I had to kind of hammer through on my last run. Spring snow, not delicious untracked powder, or tracked powder on the way to delicious untracked powder. I didn't get any of that, but I could see how this could buck around a little bit. But it's not terrible. There's some tail here, and it can, you know, you can kind of surf through moguls if you want, and I think it's fine for riding crowded resort days. There are better boards that are more damp, can absorb more chatter. It's slow speeds, medium speeds, and high speeds, but it's not bad at all. And powder, you know, I'm not sure what the setback on board is. I'll take some measurements when I put it back into Gravity Sports, and I'll take a picture of the camber profile for you and put it in the review, because I'm not doing it on the table. But, you know, just going by the taper, you know, this kind of like rocker in the nose, what seems like a good bit of rocker in the nose, to a you know, good bit of rocker in the tail. I think it would be a fun board, and it seems like a very mellow camber when I'm looking at it here, but we'll see. And that probably explains why it wasn't so dynamic underfoot. But I could see this being a great board for powder, like really jamming, really helping you get some fun directional surfy float. And that's what I love about boards like these. They're not just powder boards. They're kind of like, they're very versatile, do anything kind of boards. You can take them out on groomers and have fun, slash and carve, and, you know, the fun terminology is slash. And if you like more of a double ender feel, then it's washy to you. But to those who like to ride a little back foot heavy, this is slashy, surfy, and fun. Switch, not that great, but that's expected. Not bad for what it is. And then, you know, I didn't do any jumps, just a little ollie here and there, and it had decent enough pop. You know, it's not a dead board by any means. And, you know, jibs, I feel like with this flex, if you wanted to, you could. It wouldn't be ideal, but it's definitely doable. I've seen people jib on worse, for sure. And I wouldn't mind riding this in a soft spring pipe, but probably wouldn't be that into it. You know, I'd just carve the walls and, you know, slash under the coping like I was surfing, and that would be super fun. And I'm sure you could get out and it wouldn't be too unforgiving. You can make some little micro adjustments without it being too weird. But yeah, I mean, all in all, super impressed with the 87 and what it is now compared to what I rode before. And that just shows, like, you know, when you have the frantic manic demo dash, sometimes you get some, you know, some inaccurate experiences.